All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Today we're going to talk about Dana White and why he can't stand Francis Ngannou, right? Now, we already know this. Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Now, you know I do a Coach D Media. I talk about all things combat sports related, from the highs to the lows. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Today we're going to talk about Dana White and why he can't stand Francis Ngannou, right? Now, we already know the story, right? Francis Ngannou was a champion in UFC. He was doing big things, right? John Jones was on a hiatus for a little bit, so Dana White needed a big star. He put all his energy behind Francis Ngannou, was going to go ahead and pay him some big money to go ahead and fight and be the heavyweight champion, yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes, right? But during negotiations, Francis Ngannou said, look, man, I'll do it, but here's what I want. And he started rattling off a list of things that he wanted Dana White to go ahead and implement. Dana White said, look, now, I run all this. You ain't getting shit. So throughout time, Dana White threw a whole bunch of money at him. Francis Ngannou wasn't biting. Dana White went on this little I can't stand Francis Ngannou tour saying, hey, he's hard to work with. He's problematic, yada, yada, yada. Couldn't get nothing done. Dana White had enough. So what did he do? He says, you know what? I'm not even going to hold your contract up. If you think you can go do better, go ahead and do better. And he went ahead and released Francis Ngannou, right? So about 6 months, Francis Ngannou was on this I don't have a home tour. You know what I'm saying? So he was being reached out to by One Championship in Chatri. He was being talked to by Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships and David Feldman. You know what I'm saying? You know, we'll talk about the PFL maybe, you know, because a lot of stuff going on. But at one point, he didn't have a home. So what happened during that time? Dana White was talking shit about him. You know, freaking Chael Sonnen was talking mess about him. Everybody saying he was fumbling the bag. He wasn't selling nowhere. He wasn't doing nothing. Big mistake on freaking Francis Ngannou's part. All these podcasts was coming at him, right? Guess what happened? He ended up signing with the PFL and got a great deal. Not only was he going to make some money to fight in the PFL, he was going to make money for all his opponents for fighting them in the PFL. On top of that, he became an ambassador for Africa, which means he can start recruiting freaking talent out of Africa and build a PFL subsidiary in Africa. So, as far as everybody concerned, Francis Ngannou had a good deal. He was getting right back on track. He was starting to look good. Then what else happened? He got that fight with freaking Tyson Fury. So everybody said, hey, Francis Ngannou get the brakes beat off him. I don't know why Tyson Fury even took this fight. We'll make an easy payday. You know what I'm saying? The fight couldn't happen in the States. It happened in Saudi Arabia. That's the only place they can do it where they can make some money. Everybody made some money. It didn't do great pay-per-view. That's what everybody was talking about. But who cared? It was a fight that people wanted to see. And what happened? Francis Ngannou put on a good show, knocked down, freaking Tyson Fury, and gave him a beating in the eighth round. So what did that tell you? That means Francis Ngannou is a contender when it comes to boxing in the heavyweights, right? So, full circle, Francis Ngannou is now the man, right? Has become untouchable to the point of bulletproof because he don't need Dana White or the UFC for anything, right? He's done such a great job with fighting Tyson Fury that he is now somebody of worth that boxing is looking at on its own. Nobody has to negotiate from MMA to boxing. He is now considered a boxer by the boxing community, right? So not only is he an MMA fighter, right? He's also a legit boxer by the boxing community. So now you can't touch him because people in boxing want him. So now he's getting ready to have a fight against freaking Anthony Joshua, who is another popular fighter. So he got back-to-back top fights with top boxing, heavyweights. So now that makes him legit. You can't say shit now. What you gonna say? What you gonna say? Fluke? No, can't say that. Can't say Francis Ngannou getting lucky. No, he's being sought after, right? So what can Dana White do? Nothing. You can't. How much you gonna shit on him? You can't really shit on him. You can't really shit on him. All you can say is Francis Ngannou can't come back to the UFC. That's all you can say. We don't want him. Yeah, I bet you don't want him because you can't afford him now. You can't afford him, right? So what you gonna get? You can't get him boxing matches, right? Because you don't want to. You ain't gonna do crossovers with John Jones because you don't want to lose your other stars. Do you understand the kind of pull and power Francis Ngannou has now, right? With the backing of Saudi Arabia and him going to establish an African community for fighters, right? Look who he has on speed dial now. He has Izzy on speed dial. He has Usman on speed dial. Okay? You see what I'm saying? He got Leon Edwards, who's not African, but you have him on speed dial. That can all let their contracts run out and fight in the PFL. Right? All these fighters who got contracts coming up who ain't getting a fair shake can get a fair shake in the PFL. Time and money solves all problems. The PFL has the time and now they have the money. And they have a proven track record with Francis Ngannou that it can be done. You can call it a fluke all you want, but he the one that got away unscathed and is now making real money and is now getting real high-level fights. And he's won by both sides. He's won it by boxing and he's also won it by MMA, right? He said he wanted to get into boxing when he first got on this journey, and look where he's at now. He's in boxing. So what can you say? There is nothing Dana White can say or do but hate. But hey, that's all you can do is be upset because you can't touch him. Francis Ngannou is damn near bulletproof because people with money want him. Before it was like, hey, the only place we can go is the UFC. That's not true anymore. With PFL buying Bellator and they're backed by Saudi Arabia, they can be real players, right? Because Saudi Arabia got money to burn. Saudi Arabia can cut your lights off 3 times over without missing a beat. They can do exactly what the UFC did, was put a whole bunch of money behind marketing, developing these stars, getting them in the top spots very easily. I don't mean easy like it happened overnight. I mean, with time and with money, you can change stories and narratives. Period. Francis Ngannou is in the game now, and there's nothing you can do about it. Not a daggone thing, but watch from the sidelines. It's getting interesting, y'all. 2024 is going to be something serious. 2024 is going to be something serious. And I can't wait to see how this goes. It's getting interesting. It's getting interesting, people. I am liking it. And I want to shout out to all the guys who's been chiming in on my last post that I did. Should we feel sorry for Sean Strickland? The guys that have been coming at me pretty good. They've been talking the right share of shit, making some very good points. I have been loving it. Keep it up, guys. Hey, that's how we grow. Having great dialogue. I appreciate you guys chiming in. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come at me like you come at me. It is what it is, right? I'm having a blast doing it. And some of these conversations are actually pretty daggone good. So thank you for all that. All right? Because it is what it is. So this is Coach D doing what I'm doing, calling it like I see it, talking my share of shit. Till you hear from me again, peace out.